Yeah, we are going to look on how to create a table, how to alter a table, and how to drop a table using MySQL Workbench. To do this, these are the following steps that you take. Allow me to share my screen. Having done that, open your Workbench. You cannot create a table if you do not have a database. So the first thing that we are going to do, we are going to create a database. And how do we create a database? We create a database by clicking on a new schema tab. You click on a new schema tab. After you click on that, you give your database a name. For example, I can call it school database. After you do that, you apply, click on the apply button. You'll find we have a code for creating your database. And after you are done, again, you click on your database. Then you click on the finish button and you have a database called school. You have a database called school. Now, having created your database, what next do you do? You now want to create your table. You now want to create your table. To create your table, you just come on where you have your database. You just click on this arrow. Then you'll find tables. You right click on the table. Then you click on create table. Create table, you create, you give your table a name. For example, I want to call a table student. Then after I call it that, remember a table is where we used to store our data. In our table is where we used to store our data. So what do? I need to start working on my table. I need to start working on my table so that I'm able to add my different column names. Then let's assume that in our first table, I need student ID. Remember, this is always a primary key. So then you give your data type, your table, what we call data type, what value is it going to store? And because it's our primary key, which is our unique identifier, we ensure it is checked, the primary key, and it should not be null. Then we can as well add another column here, and we say we need the student name, and we give it a data type. For the student name, because it's going to store text, we can use val cal. Then we can set a maximum number of string that it can hold. Maybe we can say 45. And again, we don't want to leave this null. Then we can also have a student age. Sure, you double click on that column. Then we can give it a data type. We can say this is an integer. After you have done that, you can add as many columns as possible. Then you click on the apply button. Then you'll find here, this is the entire code that has been generated for us to create a database called school and a table called student. Then our table has the following fields. We have the student ID with the foreign constraint, it is storing integers, and it should not be null. Then we have another column called age, storing characters and should not be null. And we have age storing integer and should not be null. And again, we have the primary key, which is our student ID. Having done that, you click on the apply button. Then your table has executed successfully. Then you click on the finish button. After you have done that, if you come here on our tables, you will find our table called student. Double click on it and open it. And I can add maybe my student ID, like 2, 3, and maybe 4. Then I can add the student name. Add the student name. And as well, I can add their ages. After having done that, I can adjust my column width. And after I enter that, I can click on the apply button, and I have my table together with its data. So if I want to alter this table, so I only need to right click on the table student, then I click on alter table. Again, I can come and maybe change here. For example, I had put age, but I had not checked, then not null. Then I can try. As well, if I want to delete that table, I can just right click on the table and say drop the table. If I click on the drop the table, I'll get this command. Please confirm if you want to do a permanent deletion to the table that you have selected. But one of the key things to note here, ensure you are very sure or you are certain that you want to delete the table. If you want to delete, just click on the drop now. If you want to review again before you delete, remember once you delete, it's a permanent deletion. You cannot be able to restore that table. So in this lesson, we were trying to see how can we create a table. Remember, we cannot create a table if we do not have a database. Then, assuming I forgot to do something on my table, how can I alter the table? Again, alter the table. Or you want to permanently delete the table, just right click on the table and press on the delete button. But before you delete, be certain that that is the table that you want to delete. Thank you.